I'm going to do a quick video here showing you kind of the basics of the construction that I've used to make the flat radius or the flat turns, the extra, well, heck, I forgot, the extra shoulders and the catch fence that's on the outside of them that I've got on basically every turn on my road course section, and a modified version which is used on my bank turns. And I've already got some videos up about the bank turns that briefly show how I constructed them. They're a little bit more complex. This is really going to be simple to show. And so here's one that I've made out of some different materials and different colors that'll make it a little bit easier to show on camera. So step one, I use this piece of curve, or a piece of curve, as a template. And I think I actually used a full 180 as my template so that I could cut it down into whatever I needed. And I think I've got kind of templates for both. But we started with this, and I used this as a template. And most of this is made out of 1/4 inch foam. And normally I make them out of 1/4 inch foam. But in this case, I used a piece of really, really thin but nice stiff plywood. It's some furniture ply. You can see it's really thin. It's actually less than 1/4 inch thin, but it's quite solid. It's something that's old. I think this was the back of a dresser or the back of a bookcase or something that I pulled off to scrap the wood from, because I'm kind of a scrapper. But the beauty is, since it's a different color, I can really show what's going on here. Basically, I would in normal situations I would have just used a piece of 1/4 inch foam, and I cut out this pie-shaped piece by using this piece of track as my template and working it off of a 90-degree angle, and then using that there as my template, I cut out this pie-shaped piece, and I sort of guesstimate how much I want here and make it overlap. Now, let's see, you can see how it overlaps. There we go. And it's just a jagged cut off. After I was done, I just kind of hacked it off. But so you make it a little bit longer than what you think you're going to need, and cut off that pie-shaped piece. Well, then I set the track back in here into another 90-degree angle and cut off this little pie-shaped piece of a 1/4 inch foam. And I glue that into the corner and set my track back in there. And now I actually ended up making a template for this next part that I add, the shoulder that goes out here. And you know, it's just a jagged I made out of cardboard, and it's really jagged and bad, but it works. And I use that to cut off this shoulder shaped piece that goes into here. And basically all these pieces just glue down onto the very first piece that you made, onto that very first pie shaped piece. You keep setting this back in here and using it as a template to glue in the other pieces that you need. This piece right here is about 1 inch wide. That's actually a pretty good length, or a pretty good width, should I say, for stuff that is on a flat turn that you're really not going to go that fast around. I think that's a pretty good width, and it's wide enough that the car can't really use, or at least it doesn't end up using this wall to keep it in the slot, but it doesn't let the barricades that you normally have on your track interfere either. And I'm going to show you some of that here real quick. Well, I've got this chassis sitting here. We'll use this. So normally if you had your wall right here, as you can see, if you had your wall right at the edge of the track, this tire would end up hitting that wall if you slid just a little bit sideways. And if it hits it just right, well, it might keep it on its slot. If it hits it just wrong, it's going to make the car flop off. And I don't want the walls or any of the barricades to interfere with what the car is trying to do. I want it to have room to slide. I want it to be able to do its thing. If it wants to do it, you know, go ahead and get on sideways if you're a bad boy. All good enough. But I don't want this wall to keep it in its slot. Well, in this case, if the car is this far sideways, it's in more trouble than this thing's not going to keep it in the slot anyway. So I think this is good enough. Your last step now, after you've put in this little pie-shaped piece, and you've got this 1-inch wide strip that's glued on here, the next part is you take a 2-inch strip wide of your 1/4-inch foam, and you're going to, once again, depending on where you live, the different foam that you might use, this 1/4-inch foam I'm using here is blue core, and I stripped the skin off it. It's got a little bit of plastic skin on it. I stripped it off so I could bend this more easily. If you're using the paper-covered stuff, you might only have to take it off of one side, and then you'll see that the foam will already kind of bend a little bit, and it makes it real easy to form your curve. But I glued that right into that corner there, and since this isn't glued very tight, it's going to be a little bit easier to see. I just glue that right to that corner since I have this extra piece here on the base anyway, and it gives me a good spot to glue. And I left this one a little bit proud here on this end, but you can see exactly what's going on there. It just glues right up into that corner slot. And like I said, if you use Dollar Tree foam or some 1/4-inch insulating foam, you can make these for $1 or $2 a pop. If you happen to have some decent ply of some kind sitting around like this that's really, really thin, you can make use of it. You can make use of all kinds of different things you have around the house. Use what you've got. Keep it cheap. And see if it works, and let me know. Like and subscribe to the channel if you're digging what you're seeing. And if you have other comments, other ways to make stuff like this, please show me in the comments. I'm always looking for something better. This is just what I came up with because I didn't find much of anything else anywhere else. So this is what I've got, and this is what I'm trying to share, and I'm looking to hear from the rest of you too. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you soon.